Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kevin the Tech Ninja, and a couple weeks ago, Huawei had an event for the Honor 8. Now, if you don't know who Huawei is, they're the guys behind the Nexus 6P. And it's a company that, if it's not on your radar already, it should be on your radar. They've been consistently pumping out really great devices, and the Honor 8 is no exception. I've had my SIM card in it now for 3 weeks, and let me tell you, this phone is pretty amazing. Let's check it out.
Tech Ninja gonna break the mold, brands take control, scopes broad and the case is closed. Real talk with a hellified brand, every word is unfiltered, genuine dread.
The Honor 8 is Honor's flagship for North America. Huawei's been pumping out some amazing phones over the past few years and slowly but surely racking up some decent sales and awards. Last year they sold 40 million and they're on pace to sell 60 million this year alone. What does the Honor 8 have to offer? A ton. This phone shattered my expectations within a day of using it, and I had my SIM card in it since I got the phone, but it does come at a cost. You're looking at $399 for 32 gigabytes and $449 for 64 gigabytes. However, both devices do come with an SD card slot, so you can get away with the 32 gigabyte model. Let's talk about design. In the hand, the Honor feels like an iPhone. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It feels great. It uses glass on both sides and is surrounded by diamond cut alloy frame. Buzzwords aside, in the hand, it does feel fantastic and it feels like it deserves the price tag. It's light and yet sturdy at the same time, if that makes sense. Now, looking at the device, as svelte as there is a lot going on. So let's begin with the face. On the front, you have your 5.2-inch display, giving you around 73% screen to body ratio and a 1080p display. On the front, you have various sensors and also your front-facing 8 megapixel camera at f2.0 with a 1.4 pixel size. It doesn't have a standard LED flash, but just like the iPhone, once again, when you do take a front-facing selfie in a lower setting, it uses your screen as a flash. More on this in the camera section. On the top bezel, you have your IR blaster, which is really interesting to use when you're at a restaurant and you want to watch the UFC fight. On the right, you have a volume rocker, and under that, we have a power button. All buttons have the same glossy feel as the phone, and they're somewhat hard to find just the way they blend into the phone. But when actually analyzing the phone, the power button does have kind of a texture on it where you can sort of feel for it a little bit, but still, regardless, everything just blends into the phone a little bit. Now we work our way to the bottom. It has a headphone jack, a single shooter speaker, and a USB-C port. But just like a mullet, the back is where it really happens. The back has the fingerprint scanner and button, dual 12 megapixel f2.2 laser autofocus cameras. And we'll dig into the button functionality and camera stuff in a bit. The display, as I previously mentioned, is 5.2-inch 1080p display with 423 ppi, which isn't the most flagship screen of the bunch, but combine that with everything else with the phone and the small form factor, you really don't miss the higher resolution screen. Now, although the screen hardware by itself isn't that great, there is some software for the screen that really lets you fine tune it. There's things you can adjust, like the temperature of the screen from cool to warm or anything in between. And there's also an eye protection feature that filters out blues and it gives you a yellow hue. It's very similar to that Flux application. There is one quirk, and that is ambient control. Sometimes it's too sensitive and it adjusts so fast, or sometimes it doesn't adjust at all. Like when you're reading an article and you walk from a dark room to a light room, sometimes that screen just never adjusts. Or if you're reading an article and the TV's on and the TV gets a little bit bright, sometimes the screen adjusts too. Now, speaking about software, the Honor 8 is rocking Android 6.0 with EMUI. Honor is adamant that we're gonna see 7.0 soon. But how soon? Regardless, if you've used any Chinese phone, then this UI should look familiar. Bright, glossy, colorful, and no app drawer. Also, the notification shade is heavily modified. It's one of those things that holds the phone back a bit, in my opinion. However, a part of this could be fixed with a launcher I tossed on, like Nova, and also a really nice icon pack. Links down below for everything. Regardless, Honor tossed in some really nice applications and settings. I mentioned the display options already, but we also have a whole section for Smart Assistant. Now this lets you adjust things like your nav bar, add a floating dock, and using your fingerprint scanner as the button, which is called Smart Button. The Smart Button feature is really cool. You can program this button on the back of your phone to do a number of things. You can tap to open an app, you can hold it down to do something, or you can double tap for a different action as well. They have some predefined actions, or you can actually have it open up one of your applications. And I found myself using this a ton, getting to my flashlight and also hopping to my camera really fast. Within the software, you can also close power-hungry applications and adjust how they open or stay open on your device. Really nice feature to have, something that you would get if you root your device and download Greenify, but having it built into the OS is solid. Overall, the software on board isn't that bad. It may be blown out of proportion from other people, but once you toss on Nova, it's not a big deal. It's actually really nice. The camera on board is great. Photos came out really nice, and Brooklyn Beckham would tell you that he loves the black and white photos the best. That's an inside joke. The second camera takes photos in black and white, automatically combines it with the color photo to bring you a more sharp and contrasty image. Whether that's the case or not, this works great. Now, if there's one bad thing I have to say is that the camera can sometimes desaturate images and leaving some of the images lifeless. But for the most part, images look great. Solid camera. The front-facing camera does well too. The LED flash comes in clutch in dark scenarios and it's not overwhelming. Now there's one more feature that allows you to adjust the aperture in post. It's more of a software blur, but it's pretty cool to really blow out that background sometimes. Comparing this camera to other phones like the S7 or even the iPhone, it does take pictures a little bit slower. You can't just tap the photo button and take pictures back to back to back. There is somewhat of a delay, but burst fire is actually a pretty decent speed too. So if you do need to take fast action shots, this may not be the camera for you. The Honor 8 is a very fast phone. I was popping around the applications, going into games without an issue at all. It's a very spec-heavy device on the processor side. It is using their own processor, not a Snapdragon or anything like that. And Huawei has figured this out and really gave us a nice and optimized device that is great on battery and performance. For battery life, I am getting some of the best battery lives that I've received on any phone this year, and including the flagship phones too. I've had a great experience with this phone, and I think Huawei really knocked it out of the park with this phone. I do feel for the price, this device can compete with anything out there, even the OnePlus 3, but I do feel the software is holding it back a bit. I really wish it ran a more clean version of Android, as this UI has some major annoyances and some things that I really don't like and sometimes gets in the way. And I know a lot of people are mentioning the speaker. The speaker is really bad. It's loud, but it's tinny, and it sort of gets ear piercing after a while. So if speaker is something really important, look elsewhere again. But anyways guys, this is the Honor 8. If I had some award to give out for like Editor's Choice or Ninja's Choice Award, I would give it to this phone. This phone has been so solid that, like I said, it is my main phone right now as of this recording. I haven't used anything else for the past 3 weeks, and I'm having a great time with this phone. Anyways guys, my name is Kevin the Tech Ninja. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. I'll talk to you folks later. Peace out.